Hey guys, what's going on? Red here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. So I've taken the characters from Exodus Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Exodus Quarantine, Song of the Siren, and Jurassic Depths, and I've thrown them all into an arena, and we're gonna see what happens. So, as for what characters we got, you can see them on screen. We got Red Underwood and Susan Underwood. They are the twins who kind of orchestrate everything that happens in the Exodus universe, and Susan Underwood ends up dying before the Exodus maps, but you find that out in the third map. And then we got Hollis, Monroe, and Benny. Hollis Monroe is the wife of Susan Underwood. And Benny is that guy on the Temerity in Season 2 who doesn't want to do anything that relates to combat. And then we got Ivaren and the producer. Ivaren is the big villain alien guy in Season 2, and the producer is the character you play as throughout the Exodus maps. And then we got Paul Oupintire and Sarah Harding, the two Phoenix people. And then we got Ryan Monroe and Lillie. Ryan Monroe is Hollis Monroe's brother, and he kicks the bucket in Season 3. And then Lillie is just a random little girl off the streets in Season 3. She's the little shoe girl, basically. Like, she has the little magical flying shoes she steals from Senator Warlock. But we also have the Madam President. She's the president in Season 3, and Kevin, the radio guy. No one knows what he looks like, so that's why he's darkened out. And then we got Captain Alexander and Sam Williams from Exodus Quarantine. Captain Alexander's the crazy guy who is constantly speaking over the intercom, trying to antagonize the player. And Sam Williams is the soldier that is the player's buddy in that map. And then we move on to characters from Song of the Siren. We got Alex Monroe and Arya Oupintire. They're best friends and war buddies, essentially. The player will actually play as Alex Monroe in the map. So that will be interesting. We got Claire Monroe and Riley, more characters from the map. And both of them are pretty young, so they're like less than 20 years old, essentially, for most of the map. And then we got Oscar Flynn and Scarlet Underwood. Oscar Flynn is the main villain of Song of the Siren. Scarlet Underwood's an interesting character. She's actually a doctor, so she's a very intelligent person. And then we got Simon Feng and Dr. Stephen Elliott. Simon Feng is a character in Song of the Siren. He plays an interesting role. And then Dr. Stephen Elliott is the first character from Jurassic Depths, which is a map that will be coming out in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. That'll be really cool. So we got Dr. Stephen Elliott, and then we have Peter Montgomery and Philip Montgomery, who are also in Jurassic Depths. Peter Montgomery is Philip's father, and Peter is like a rich guy who owns a nice piece of land with some interesting things on it, and Philip is his adventurous son, essentially. Philip Montgomery also makes an appearance in Song of the Siren, so that's how they all link up. So anyways, we got our contestants, and we're going to see what happens to them. So I guess we should proceed. So let's see what happens. And this is basically just like a Hunger Games simulation, so like the last person standing is the victor. So we're just going to see who kills who, and it should be cool and interesting. As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Dr. Stephen Elliott and Claire Monroe fight for a bag. Dr. Stephen Elliott gives up and retreats. Riley grabs a shield, leaning on the cornucopia. Philip Montgomery convinces Scarlet Underwood to not kill him, only to kill her instead. Rest in peace, Scarlet. Simon Feng runs away from the cornucopia. Madam President takes a handful of throwing knives. Alex Monroe runs away from the cornucopia. Sarah Harding runs away from the cornucopia. The producer runs away from the cornucopia. Paul Oupintire snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Arya Oupintire runs away with a lighter and some rope. Ryan Monroe clutches a first aid kit and runs away. Sam Williams and Benny fight for a bag. Benny strangles Sam Williams with the straps and runs. Damn, Benny. Hollis Monroe and Ivaren fight for a bag. Ivaren strangles Hollis Monroe with straps and runs. Ivaren, you killed Hollis. Lillie runs away from the cornucopia. Red Underwood retrieves a trident from inside the cornucopia. Susan Underwood runs away from the cornucopia. Peter Montgomery runs away from the cornucopia. Kevin the radio guy finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Oscar Flynn bashes Captain Alexander's head in with a mace. Dr. Stephen Elliott and the producer split up to search for resources. Ivaren, Alex Monroe, Kevin the radio guy, and Philip Montgomery hunt for other tributes. Uh-oh, we got a team. Benny practices his archery. Paul Oupintire paints flowers. Paul, what are you doing? Oscar Flynn tries to sleep through the entire day. Ryan Monroe begs for Claire Monroe to kill him. She refuses, keeping Ryan Monroe alive. Good on you, girl. You're keeping your great-great-great, nephew, son, or grandson alive, I think? I'm not exactly sure. But you're keeping your family member alive, and not killing him. Good on you. Red Underwood stabs Simon Feng while his back is turned. Well, sounds like Red. Sarah Harding attacks Arya Oupintire, but Peter Montgomery protects her, killing Sarah Harding. Well, rip Sarah. Susan Underwood stalks Riley. Madam President receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Lillie sees smoke rising in the distance, but decides not to investigate. 6 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Scarlet Underwood, Sam Williams, Hollis Monroe, Captain Alexander, Simon Feng, Sarah Harding are all dead. Benny sets an explosive off, killing Riley, Kevin the radio guy, Madam President, and the producer. Damn, Benny. You are dangerous. Arya Oupintire and Red Underwood run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Dr. Stephen Elliott receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Claire Monroe receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Philip Montgomery cries himself to sleep. Oscar Flynn goes to sleep. Ivaren and Peter Montgomery tell stories about themselves to each other. Alex Monroe begs for Lillie to kill her. She refuses, keeping Alex Monroe alive. Good on you, Lillie. You're just a little girl. You need to stay innocent. Ryan Monroe climbs a tree to rest. Susan Underwood convinces Paul Oupintire to snuggle with her. Okay then. Susan Underwood tries to spearfish with a trident. Arya Oupintire defeats Philip Montgomery in a fight, but spares his life. Lillie collects fruit from a tree. Benny receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Oscar Flynn steals from Ryan Monroe while he isn't looking. Uh-oh. Paul Oupintire receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Ivaren explores the arena. Alex Monroe discovers a river. Peter Montgomery searches for firewood. Dr. Stephen Elliott discovers a river. Red Underwood sees smoke rising in the distance, but decides not to investigate. Claire Monroe receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Riley, Kevin the radio guy, Madam President, and the producer. Mostly victims of Benny. Or were they all victims of Benny? Susan Underwood cries herself to sleep. Alex Monroe looks at the night sky. Paul Oupintire falls into a pit and dies. Dr. Stephen Elliott catches Lillie off guard and kills her. Holy crap, really? Dr. Elliott, why did you kill Lillie? What did she ever do to you? She's just a little girl with flying shoes. Claire Monroe lets Peter Montgomery into her shelter. Arya Oupintire questions her sanity. Philip Montgomery, Benny, and Red Underwood sleep in shifts. Oscar Flynn and Ryan Monroe huddle for warmth. Ivaren cries himself to sleep. Probably because he's remembering all his fallen crew members and people of his species. Because they all have died. Because that's what happens in the Dendron. So sad. Ryan Monroe and Peter Montgomery split up to search for resources. Philip Montgomery tries to sleep through the entire day. Alex Monroe tries to sleep through the entire day. Ivaren hunts for other tributes. Claire Monroe sprains her ankle while running away from Susan Underwood. Arya Oupintire goes hunting. Oscar Flynn runs away from Dr. Stephen Elliott. Red Underwood overpowers Benny, killing him. Red killed Benny. It's just like season 2. 3 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Paul Oupintire, Lillie, and Benny. Let us see who is still standing. Red Underwood, Susan Underwood. The twins are still there. Ivaren is still alive. Ryan Monroe, Alex Monroe, Arya Oupintire, Claire Monroe, Oscar Flynn, Dr. Stephen Elliott, Peter Montgomery, and Philip Montgomery are all still standing. Who will win? Oscar Flynn starts a fire. Claire Monroe pushes Red Underwood off a cliff during a knife fight. Welp, rip Red. I died to Claire Monroe. Ivaren destroys Alex Monroe's supplies while she is asleep. Philip Montgomery receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Arya Oupintire and Ryan Monroe hold hands. Aw. Peter Montgomery kills Susan Underwood as she tries to run. Dr. Stephen Elliott quietly hums. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tribute's families. Alex Monroe snaps Ryan Monroe's neck. Damn. Okay. Oscar Flynn falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Kinda fitting. Peter Montgomery bashes Dr. Stephen Elliott's head in with a mace. Ugh. Ivaren is smart and decides not to go to the feast. Arya Oupintire and Philip Montgomery decide to work together to get more supplies. Claire Monroe stuffs a bundle of dry clothing into a backpack before sprinting away. Arya Oupintire injures herself. Philip Montgomery stabs Alex Monroe with a tree branch. Rest in peace, Alex. Claire Monroe tries to spearfish with a trident. Peter Montgomery and Ivaren split up to search for resources. 6 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. The twins, Red Underwood and Susan Underwood, are dead. Ryan Monroe, Oscar Flynn, Dr. Stephen Elliott, and Alex Monroe also join them. We are left with Ivaren, Arya Oupintire, Claire Monroe, Peter Montgomery, and Philip Montgomery. Who will survive and win? Claire Monroe tries to treat her infection. Philip Montgomery and Arya Oupintire talk about the tribute still alive. Ivaren screams for help. Peter Montgomery passes out from exhaustion. Philip Montgomery overhears Ivaren and Peter Montgomery talking in the distance. Arya Oupintire practices her archery. Claire Monroe camouflages herself in the bushes. Philip Montgomery looks at the night sky. Arya Oupintire sets up camp for the night. Peter Montgomery dies trying to escape the arena. Rest in peace, Peter. No one will miss you. Ivaren questions his sanity. Claire Monroe attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Claire Monroe throws a knife into Philip Montgomery's chest. Join your father, Philip. Ivaren runs away from Arya Oupintire. 2 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. The father and son duo, Peter Montgomery and Philip Montgomery, are now dead. Ivaren tends to Arya Oupintire's wounds. I'm not sure that's smart, Ivaren, when there's only 3 of you left. Claire Monroe cooks her food before putting her fire out. Ivaren continues to tend to Arya Oupintire's wounds. Claire Monroe fishes. We are down to 3. Ivaren, Arya Oupintire, and Claire Monroe. Ivaren thinks about home. He does that a lot. Claire Monroe stabs Arya Oupintire while her back is turned. Uh-oh. We are down to Claire Monroe and Ivaren. Ivaren bashes Claire Monroe's head in with a mace. 2 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Arya Oupintire and Claire Monroe. And the winner is Ivaren. He outlasted all the other survivors, and as the only Dendron against all humans, he obviously wins because his species is superior. Don't you humans know that by now? And here we go. We see how it all went down. We see who got which place, with Ivaren winning in the end. Oh man, it was a bloodbath. An absolute bloodbath. Benny, though, getting 5 kills, the most of any other player in the arena. but he did not make it to the end. Oh well, rest in peace. So many have fallen, and only Ivaren remains. Well guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this Hunger Games mashup with the Exodus maps. So it was a lot of fun. It's just like this little random thing I found online, and hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want to see more, or different scenarios with like different characters or something, let me know and I can see if I can do that. So yeah, I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching. A lot of these Law and Order things that would normally not be something that you would implement in a regular country, like mandatory microchip implants. We need to keep track of where everyone is. That way we know who was trying to get on a building near where I'm doing a speech and assassinate me. That is very, very useful to know. And we're gonna make sure everyone has a microchip implanted into their bodies, so we can keep track of where they all are. This is gonna get me killed. No one likes having a microchip, like, just like,